Part 10. Thinking and Deep Talk with Severus. Late that night. Opened my eyes slowly and wiped my cheeks, realizing I was crying from a bad dream. I can't even recall why I was crying. It was over those dreams of Severus and me, of how he used to be. One time we made out on his desk in potions class after hours without anyone knowing, and it was risky because we still could have gotten caught. Another time was when I snuck into his room to fall asleep by his side with him holding my hand. Also, there was that time when he did a surprise picnic as a small romantic gesture. Sometimes I can recall his touch. His presence and mysteriousness made me have such a deep crush on him. But why did I really fall in love with him? Why did our relationship feel so real for so long? I loved him for his good side, the side he let me see. Yet, our relationship was a teacher-student fantasy. Now I've come to partly hate him for all the bad he's done, all the hurt that he caused. Better yet, why did he act cruelly towards me? He never let me see him like that, and frankly, it was scary as hell. I never had a good point that I should eventually let him go. A part of me loves him. I can't help it. Honestly, as much as I've come to fall for my best friend, I'm not sure if I can let Severus go. I mean, he's my first love, and something about him just attracts me to him. I don't know what it is. I know that I'm still in love with him. I also know that if Hermione were here, she would have told me the same thing. I realize that my feelings for him are what's holding me back from letting him go. I guess the heart wants what the heart wants, right? The way Severus has been acting this year alone has made me so conflicted that it's driving me absolutely mad. At first, it seems like he loves me. The next minute, he acts like he hates me. And then he acts soft and sweet. Wanting to get inside his robes was just a bonus, especially when you can tell when his eyes were full of lust and wonder. But also, I tend to crave his touch in the way he looks into me with those dark eyes. However, because of Dad's death, Severus became the headmaster, and it's honestly been partly hell as nothing is the same, and we're basically suffering. At the same time, Severus seems to have a soft spot for me. I'll admit, I secretly know what may come in the future. See, Dad told me everything about what he believes will happen after Voldemort returns. Dad had feared Voldemort might have to kill Harry because of what he really was. That's the part that I don't know. I mean, I have my suspicions, but I'm not sure if I'm right about it or not. The only thing I wonder is what will become of Severus. Will Voldemort kill him too if he does get Dad's Elder Wand? I guess only time can tell. I know that over time, my feelings for Harry are becoming way more than best friends. I wish that when he left, he could have told me how he felt about me instead of hiding it. Then again, I could be wrong about that too, and that partly scares me. I decided to quit thinking so much and lie back down, and eventually, I fell into a deep sleep. 3 days later, I decided to go and talk to Severus again and naturally be around him for a while. I know I said I hate him, but there's a reason why. I don't know how much time I have left with him. Things are getting rough. It's scary to think Voldemort's on the prowl. No matter what happens, good or bad, we seem to realize time's running out. However, neither of us knows how much time that is. So, here I was, standing by him in Dad's lair, where he was. Neither of us has said a word in the past few minutes. Until he spoke. Listen, Paige, I've thought much in the past few days. And I want to truly apologize. For what exactly, Severus? I asked. I crossed my arms against my chest, waiting for an answer. For the last time we saw each other. I'm deeply sorry I hurt you. It wasn't my intention to wound you deeply. I never wanted to hurt you initially, but yet I know I have. You did hurt me, Severus. A lot, actually. But there's nothing that you can say or do now that can fix the damage you've caused. If you want me to be honest, it's made me partly hate you some." He paused for a moment, not saying anything at all. I'd wondered what he's thinking. Finally, he said, "I'm going to try to explain the best I can. In a way, Paige, with me working here and working for the Dark Lord, has put me back to my old self. I know I've been cold-hearted to you a lot lately, Paige, but..." He paused as he walked closer, putting a hand on the side of my face. I uncrossed my arms and put them to the side, staring into him. He continued, "The truth is, I've watched you closely since you were small. Albus put me as your protector, per se, making sure you were okay when you had to go away or something. You didn't know who I was back then, but I always watched from afar. I realized a few years after you came here that I fell in love with the person you've become, Paige. I never knew who your mother was, but you are a split image of Albus." I couldn't bring myself to say a word as I gazed at him, and he talked more. "I realize that apologizing won't fix what I've done, Paige. I hope you know that it pained me more than I can even express to see you hurt, whether it's physically or emotionally. However, what I'm about to say is the truth, whether you believe it or not. I want you to know no matter what I say or do, including the bad, I am doing it for the sake of the Dark Lord. I'm mainly doing it to protect you, along with Potter too, if you can believe it. The Dark Lord is always watching and knows when people lie to him. Most of all, I can't risk you from getting hurt by him. If he somehow found out what we are, Paige, you'll know he'll try to do something to you. I know he's afraid of you because you're a Dumbledore, but there's no telling what he would do. As I said, I never intended to hurt you truly, but being distanced for the best, love, I did it all to protect you." I was taken aback by what he had just said, and I believed every word of it. "So, wait. Everything you did was to protect me? And that's why you've been cruel?" I asked, looking up with teary eyes. "Yes, it was, Paige. I'm sorry I had to act that way towards you. But as you can see now, I had to. I was wrong to doubt you, Severus. I should be wanting to say sorry. The things that were said or done are understandable on your part, Paige, don't worry. So, you really have been looking out for me after all these years since I was small?" He nodded his head. "Why didn't you ever say anything, Severus?" "Because it was under your father's orders for you not to know. Because of watching you for years, I grew to have a form of love for you that I cannot deny. Even though your heart belongs to Harry's mom, right?" Again, he nodded his head. "I wish you would have said something to me. I doubted you. I started to hate you. But at the end of the day, no matter which way you look at it, you've been nothing but protective secretly." I glanced at him with awe in my eyes, but he didn't bother to respond. Instead, he simply laid his hand on my arm for comfort, because now I'm starting to see the light of the truth, and he knows. Severus is slowly being truthful. There was a pause until I spoke. "Severus," I whispered, "what has become of us? We hated each other for a while, and I'm trying to mend things between us, that is. Why now, Severus, and not in the past? Things are coming to the point where you deserve to know the truth of my actions. Also, because I don't want to lose you, Paige. I have been watching you all your life, remember? And I care too much about you." I felt my heart gleam with love and joy, hearing that Severus cares too much for me and my well-being. "I believe that you do, Severus, but what do we do about us?" "First, Paige, you have to let me go, relationship-wise. Of course we can care for one another. We can't love." "What?" I exclaimed. "Severus, no!" I looked down at my feet with tears forming, not wanting it to come to this. But at the same time, I know he's right. It's partly what I feared. I don't know if I can let go." "Paige," he said softly while lifting my head, "please try to do this for me. I can't risk your safety or go on without knowing you'll be safe. I have to make sure that you're at least safe. I promised that to your father, after all. I'm sorry, Severus, for saying or thinking that you weren't protecting me. I know you'll live up to that promise, but Severus, I can't let you go, I responded emotionally. Yes, you can, love, he responded, wiping the falling tears from my cheek. I don't want to let go either, but we have to. Secretly, we can care and love, but around everyone else, we have to hate. It's the only way for you to be safe from getting killed. You seem to mostly hate everyone in a way, but yet somehow have a soft spot for me. That's because I've always had a soft spot when it comes to you, Paige. Your father also knew that. Minerva realized it 2 years ago. We stared at each other, not knowing what else to say. This is so much for me to take in, but at this point, I know I'll have to move on. It's what I've been saying, what has been told, but coming down to it, I don't know if I can. After everything that occurred over time, I'll always care and have some love for him. I was so distracted that I honestly didn't realize how close we actually were until I felt my heartbeat increase and butterflies building up in my stomach. It's been so long since I felt this way towards Severus. I can feel myself getting so caught up in this current moment. I glanced at his midnight eyes, down to his lips, and back up at his eyes. Because I was shorter than him, my head reaching close to the crook of his neck, I could almost visibly see his breathing was increasing as well. Paige, he whispered, piercing straight into my eyes. To be continued. That is the end of this part. We still have a good chunk of the story left to go. Don't forget to like and comment on this video and my others as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as the support means a lot to me. And hit the bell to get notified for when I post new videos. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for more.